I'm a little late to the party, but this lens is one of my favorite purchases I've made for my camera. I'm talking about the Tamron 28-75 G2. Now for me personally, I mostly shoot weddings, social media content for businesses, and portraits. My go-to lens before getting this one was the Sony 24-105 f4. And that's a little bit of an older lens, and of course, as you heard, it's f4, which has its pros and cons. Actually, when I bought that lens, I was debating between that and this Tamron 28-75. I decided on the 24-105. Being a big fan of the 85mm lens, having that extra 30-ish millimeters on the long end kind of drew me in. And knowing that sometimes I go handheld, which really actually isn't that much anymore, I wanted the in-lens stabilization that the 24-105 had. But anyway, we're talking about this one. And it has pretty much become one with my Sony A7IV. They're always together. Not right now, but usually. The original version of this, the G1, I've used that a bunch of times. The build quality of this new one is, I don't want to say significantly better, but it feels like it's significantly better. It doesn't feel like it's made of plastic, even though it is. Or at least it doesn't feel like it is much. The zoom ring and the focus ring on here feel a lot better. You've got a customizable button on the outside, which I just keep for focus hold, but you can make it whatever you want. USB-C port for your updates, and it's still the same 67mm filter thread, which is great because it matches the 70-180 or the 24 2.8 Tamron that I have. Now right now, probably about 70% of the time, I'm shooting video, and this is my go-to for it. For most of my talking head videos like this, I use the 28-75. As I mentioned, for weddings, that's what I'm using most of the time. It's a great B-roll lens because it gives you that versatility to zoom in if you needed to. Yeah, it's tough to find a complaint. Autofocus is super quick. If I had to pick something, there are some times when I zoom all the way in and I wish I did have that extra 30mm that I did before. But if that's the case, I can just put the A7IV in Super 35 mode and gain it that way. So it works. For photos, it is very rare that this lens misses focus, even with fast-moving subjects like kids. Having the f2.8 gives me a blurrier background than I had with the f4, and of course lets in more light as well. This has been on sale for a while, and it is 100% worth the $700 that I paid for it. Regular price of this one is, I want to say it's $900. There'll be a couple links down below if you want to check out and see what the sales are. I've had this for just under 90 days, and might have to do a 90-day full review on this guy, but I'd say this is probably the best budget lens you can get for a Sony camera.